Hey everybody, this is Dalstone here doing another Let's 3D model, and I know it's been a while. Kind of been working on some things here and there, but this morning, I have probably at least half an hour to just kind of model and do some recording for you guys. So right now, currently, I'm working on this project. Let me just kind of show you guys what it's gonna look like. I had a chance to I saw this really cool concept done by Janice Chu. Let me just clean up some things here. Sorry, I should have done this earlier. Uh, Janice Chu. Yeah, so I saw this really cool concept that she had done. It was super cute, and I was like, you know what? I really need something like this on my portfolio. Just this little fun thing, and it's always fun to kind of collaborating with other artists. So I was like, you know what, do you mind if I do this in 3D and kind of put my own spin into it? And she said, yeah, go ahead. And so now, yeah, so I'm determined. I mean, this is a small enough project for me to kind of start and finish. So that's the goal. The goal is to really, honestly, just kind of make sure that I kind of finish this project and not kind of just let it go to the wayside. That I've kind of like what I've, because I kind of have been doing that a bit. So alright, so first thing first, I noticed right away that there is actually a third leaf here. So because of that third leaf, I'm going to put it in now. It is a little bit smaller, so I'm going to scale that down. And I mean, it's not going to look exactly like the concept, right? Because you have to think about, okay, you know, this asset, it's probably not going to be, I mean, it might be a main piece inside the game, but you also have to think about how to save yourself time, right? If you have a time limit on when you need to get this done, etc., like you have to kind of think about that. So I'm reusing um, quite a few things. Like I'm reusing some of these leaves, right, to kind of save that time. Okay, so I feel like this is jotting out a little bit too much, so I'm going to push this in. There you go. Because you're gonna see. I mean, the final shot is gonna be like this. Let me just kind of. Sorry, this is gonna be kind of hard to kind of show. It almost looks like it's gonna be like that, right? So that's kind of the final shot that we're gonna have. So already, I need to shift these up a lot more. So yeah, so it's really handy. Hold on, I'm just gonna turn off my notifications here. It's really handy to have like the second monitor, right, to kind of look at your scene. I haven't been able to look at my second monitor for a while because I've been working on this on my laptop, so it's been a little bit tougher to kind of get exactly where things are gonna flow. So now that I actually have two monitors, this is the first time that I've had two monitors working on this scene. I'll be able to kind of gauge quite a bit more on how this is supposed to look like. Not that it needs to look exactly right, like that's something that people have a hard time. Like a lot of people think that, okay, here's a concept, it has to look exactly like it. You know, sometimes that's just not the case. Sometimes you have to think about, okay, gameplay wise, right, like how's this going to affect gameplay inside the game that you're working on. And it's really important, but it's just one of those things where like people just don't really talk about. All right, so that is actually how it's supposed to look like. So let's see here. So these look like just floating petals, and it kind of bugs me. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to draw, not, that's the side, this is the front. I'm going to draw the stem that's going to attach these together. And it looks like what I'm gonna do, and I mean the concept doesn't really show this like too clearly, but I'm gonna have it actually connecting like all the way. So I'm going to use the CV curve tool, and I'm going to draw a stem, and it might not be perfect, so what I'll have to do is I'll go to curve point, or control curves, or control vertex, and then I'm going to curve point. I'm gonna slide a curve in there. Shift, right click, insert knot, and that's gonna give me another point, right? To make this a lot smoother, because it's really important to make this as smooth as you can. So I'm going to do the same here. Control Vert, Shift, or what am I doing? Okay, curve point. Select the curve, a point. Select where I want the vertex. Shift right click, insert knot. And so now I should have a second one here. Just want to smoothen this out. Like, this needs to be smooth. I'm just gonna pull these to the extremes, and then that way you can kind of see where you need your curves. So I'm just gonna do that. Just gonna add another one here. So now we should have some nice, some more smoother curves going down. Okay. So with that, obviously things are not lined up where they should be. So now you got to go, and you know it's kind of tedious, but it's definitely worth it. It's definitely worth it. So I'm gonna go like this. I'm gonna take off the grid. The grid always kind of annoys me, and I'm gonna start working on this a bit on the stem. Just lining it all up. I'm gonna make the curve a lot better. Sorry, I apologize if I keep saying this and that when I really should be explaining what this and that is. It's something that I'm trying to work on. I'm also trying to work on being a little bit more calm and not clicking like crazy. Maybe some of the viewers get motion sickness or something like that, so I have to be a lot more cautious about it. Okay, so I'm just going to center my pivot there. I'm going to create a nerve circle, and it's going to be huge. I'm going to press C to snap to a curve, and then I'm going to middle mouse click onto the curve, which will allow me to slide it right down the curve. I'm going to quickly isolate these two items. I'm going to move it. This is going to be a pretty small stem, so let's see how this works out. I'm going to select the circle. I'm going to select the curve. I'm going to un-isolate everything, because if you don't, you won't see your curve. I'm going to do polygons, and not polygons. I'm going to go to surfaces. Edit, no, surfaces. I'm going to go extrude options. Tube is good. Add profile, polygons. I'm probably going to change one of these to 2. I'll do that later. Okay, so that's not what I want. I think it's probably to add path, I think, right? Yeah, add path. That's what I want. Now, if you guys notice, that is way larger than I want. So I'm going to make this even smaller. So I'm going to make this tiny. Let's do it like half the size. I'm going to apply the options. And even that is way too big. So, because I'm looking at the image on the right side, I know I'm trying to be as instructional as possible while making sure that I don't slow myself down too much. Okay, so that's what it looks like. It has the weird. I'm gonna center pivot this as well. It has the faces inverted, so I'm just gonna go to faces. I'm gonna select it all. Hopefully, yeah. And then I'm going to face normals and reverse normals. So now you have the proper normals. So that's kind of a little bit more of what I want. Now the issue that I have here though is that it's way too high poly for something that is pretty small, right? Like it has a nice shape and everything, but it's a little bit too high poly. So I'm gonna go to the attribute editor here on the right side. NURBS tessellate 1. I'm gonna move. I said I was gonna change this to 2, so that made it less polys, right? If you notice here, and that's now 600. I still feel like that's a little bit too much. Autosave, sure. So I like having the autosave feature just to kind of make sure that I save things periodically. I'm actually gonna change this to 1. Yeah, see, like 1 is pretty good. Let's check out how many polys that. See, that's half of the polys, and it looks, you know, pretty decent still for a stem that's like pretty small. Now what I am noticing though is some jaggediness going on. Um, like this is kind of useless. To see how this is all clumped up, and again, you know, the tool's not perfect, right? So you kind of start to go in and kind of help it a bit. But I mean, the most of the work is done here, right? Which is awesome. So this is kind of pretty straight. I mean, I don't know if people will notice that. Let me see. From here, yeah, it's a little bit noticeable. So I'm gonna go to Insert Edge Tool, and I'm gonna Shift Select to kind of give a nice smooth. There you go. To smoothen it out just a tad bit, and I think that that's gonna be handy. And I'm gonna select this, isolate, and cap these because I don't want lighting to go through it. How am I gonna do this? So I think I'm just gonna pinch the vertices. Just do it like that, and just yeah, that's fine actually. That's cool. And the other side is already just jotted down. Again, you know, the concept is not too clear on where this is, but now at this point I have the stem, I have everything kind of in. I can now move this a little bit if I'd like, right? I can move it because it does look like it's more towards the back, so I can definitely do that. I feel like the rocks here can definitely be moved back as well. It's now jotting out a little bit too much, so I'm just gonna rotate this rock a tad bit. And this is me just nitpicking at this point, right? Like, I mean, people might not even notice these things. So now I have this. I am noticing that this might be a little bit extreme, like the so I'm just gonna bring this like that because it was looking pretty extreme how it was bending, and I don't like this weird, so I'm just gonna smoothen this out a little bit more just to make it flow a little bit more organically. And I'll be honest with you, yeah, I'm gonna bring this down just a tad bit again just to smoothen it out because right now it's kind of, it looks pretty like a sharp turn there. So now I feel like that's a little bit more of what it should look like, right? Again, I don't know if this is how it's supposed to look like, right? Like this is just, I mean, the concept is one thing. And then there's also some stuff on the rock. I'm noticing that there's stuff on the rock here. But there's one thing that I've been dying to do. I'm actually gonna take this leaf here. See that? I caught myself saying this, and I tried to save myself. So there's 4 leaves kind of overhanging. So I have to also create like a stem for these as well. So I will do that. So let's see here. So I'm going to go like this. Just go like that. This is the biggest leaf out of them, out of the 4. So I'm going to do that. I think I'm just gonna lift it up a tad bit. And then there's another one just above it, it looks like, and it's not rotated that much. I think I rotated a little bit too much. And again, you know, I'm using leaves that I've already made, so it's kind of like, you know, reusing the asset, right? And there's another 2 more on top of that. They're much smaller, and I'm gonna squeeze these down. This is a tad bit bigger. This is still a little bit too big, so I'm gonna scale that. This one's gonna go down, and this one, I'm just gonna shift this a little bit just to kind of give it a different silhouette. Inside it's using a different leaf. So at this point, I'm kind of using my own freedom here to illustrate my own kind of idea of how this is gonna look like. Right. So now the problem that I have is that it's floating. right? So I need to kind of make this all make sense. So how I'm going to do that is I need to make sure that I have whatever I need isolated, and I'm going to do that as well on the side. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to create some CV curves, and I'm going to connect. Oh no, oops. Okay, hold on. So I need to go to my panel, and I gotta change the isolate select. Where is that? Isolate select. Auto load new objects. So I have to make sure I have that selected. So it's still not working, as you guys can see, which sucks. Where's it? Show isolate selected. Auto load selected objects. Auto load add selected object. Yeah. So it's just, yeah, it's really weird in that way. It just doesn't do a very what just happened? Did I even create anything? Hold on. Did I even create anything? I created a curve, but I can't see the curve. Okay, so I'm just going to redo that. So let's create the curve again. Oh, what did I just click? CV curve. No. Okay. So I'm just going to do it like this. Okay. And again, this might be a little bit too elaborate, to be honest, because no one's really gonna see this branch, really. So again, I probably will make it less extravagant. I'm just gonna jam these in like that. Jam this curve. I'm gonna jam this curve as well. Just gonna jam it. And then what I can do if I really want to, so these will stem out from this little branch, right? And I'll do that later. But with these, I can try and just I have an idea for this. I will branch it out, I think, a little bit more. I will branch these out a bit more. Like, I'll make a second stem that connects these together. So I'm not too worried about that. Okay, so same thing applies from the other one. I'm just going to create. Do I have the circle somewhere? Might still have a circle somewhere. Yeah, so I have this circle hidden here. Stop it. And then I'm going to press C again to snap to a curve. Well, snap to curve. And let's see how this looks. Okay, hold on. Nope. That's not what I want. And curve. There. And then I will go to surfaces, extrude again, and I feel like that's way too big for this. So I'm gonna half that with my eyeballs. There was no like quick way that I did that. I just halved it with my eyes, and I think that's probably pretty good. And I will again lower down the tessellation on these. I'm just gonna lower down to 1. V normals. Let's go 2. What just happened here? 2. No. Let's keep it at 3 for now. Isolate. Select all the faces because they're inverted, and I'm just gonna reverse normals. And there you go. And I'm gonna do something here. I will. First off, I'm going to add another edge loop, just like right here. I'm going to select these vertices, and I'm going to pinch them. Merge vertices. Save my work. I'm going to pinch this like that. Pinch these vertices just a tad bit so that it looks a little bit nicer, and I will move this So it looks like it's connecting. There you go. Right. So now we have kind of like a little stem here, and you know, as long as these kind of hook up to it, it looks pretty believable, right? Like I might not even be able to get away with not putting another stem. But let's see what I can do first. You know, let's see what I can do. So I'm gonna. There we go. And I noticed that the leaves over on this side need to be kind of shifted over a bit more. Oh, I gotta make sure I select these with the stem. It's kind of like nice and tucked over here. I'm gonna delete the curve. Oh no, I need to delete history and then delete the curve. Alright, so we're diving into a lot of the details here. Because now we have all that. Now I need some tall grass, it looks like. That seems to be something that I'm missing. It's some nice tall grass. And like a little kind of blob of... I'm also missing some mushrooms, it looks like, so I'll definitely do some of that. Hopefully I can do some of that today. Let me see here. I've already been recording for 21 minutes. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this so far. Okay, so I also noticed that there's like some grass and stuff that's growing inside, so that's kind of cool. I don't know how detailed I'm gonna go with that. I'm probably just gonna put like some kind of little grass bits. I do want to create some cool like hole here, like as if it punched the milk carton open. That would be really cool if I can do that, and I'm gonna aim to do that. So all right, so next thing I'm going to tackle is the tall grass. So how that's gonna... Okay, so I'm gonna do this from the front, take off grid because it's annoying, and I'm gonna draw some tall grass. And you know, this isn't gonna be elaborate at all. Tall grass. The tallest grass I see is probably something like that, right? And then we're just gonna just like that, and then I'll smoothen it out by adding some more polys and stuff like that. But first I'm going to close these up, make sure that it's... I mean, this might even suffice, to be honest. Okay, let's see, where is it? Center pivot, move it out. Now we can see it. Right, like that might be okay, to be honest. But I mean, no, I mean, I think I want it to be a little bit smoother. I want it to be a tad bit smoother. There, how about that? 15 triangles. It'll be a little bit more than 15 triangles because I am going to be extruding the faces and making both sides and all that stuff. But so let's do something like that, right? There we go. So now we have some tall grass. I'm tempted to make it a little bit smoother, like the tall grass, but it's okay. So we got some tall grass now, and I'm going to start placing these around, and I'm only going to do one tall grass, and just rotate it, scale it differently, and stuff like that. It should really help with it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use... Hold on, I'm going to stop the rotation, bring it back to its regular. I'm going to use the duplicate special, and I'm going to duplicate, I'm not going to translate it anything, number of copies. Let's do about 5 copies of these, and I'm just going to move these around. And this way, at least when I do the UVs and stuff, it's all going to be, they're all going to be UV'd. It's a tool that I've said many times I don't use enough of, and I'm guilty of it. And I should be using it way more often. So I'm just going to rotate. I probably should have done my... Okay, before I did that, I should have... put the pivot point where I want it to go. Right, so that way I can kind of rotate things the way that I want it, etc., etc. So I'm going to do that right now. Right, so now what I can do is I can just rotate this the other way, and it has kind of like that intersecting kind of look to it. That looks like tweezers, but if I just move this like in between these, rotate it out a bit more, even like scale it down, right? And then at this point I can kind of go however I want with the tall grass. I'll probably rotate it. So right now it's looking pretty duplicated, so I'm going to kind of clump a few together here to kind of change that, and then I'm going to rotate this around. Right, and then there's like another clump. So I'm trying to think, how do I want this clump to look? Right, it looks like it's like growing underneath the rock kind of thing. So I'm gonna try and emulate that as much as I can. If it's growing underneath the rock. Okay, I'm just gonna quickly save that. Okay, so now there's like a big clump over here. There's like at least there's like 4. So I'm just gonna duplicate, move, and I'm just going to now change. I'm gonna move this here. I'm also gonna scale the grass here a lot smaller, because it looks like it's gonna be a lot smaller. I'm gonna have one maybe kind of like the regular size, but the rest I'm gonna kind of chill out with it. Okay, so it doesn't like me rotating like that, so I'm just going to rotate them individually. And there we go. So now we got some grass. I'm gonna add a little bit more kind of at the bottom here. Little wee ones. Kind of fill up, just to fill it out a bit. And and then like I'm looking at this rock, and it does come out pretty far, so that's kind of an issue that I have here. Like it comes out about like that. And there's definitely mushrooms and stuff like that growing. So I'm gonna really start doing the mushroom thing. So already, I mean, I don't have like a time-lapse photo of how this looked like before we opened up the project, but already it's starting to, like the little details are starting to show through, like the little small grass and stuff like that is really starting to build up the shape for this scene, especially on this side. Obviously I'm going to be putting like little mushrooms and stuff like that around. It's going to really look super awesome, I think, when this is done. So I might even send Janice Chu a work in progress photo of what I've done so far, my kind of take to my own little style, adding a little style and stuff to it. She might actually really enjoy that. Okay, so first things first is I need to create some mushrooms. So I'm gonna create some mushrooms here. Do I want to start with a sphere? Yeah, sure. Whoa, okay, that's really big. But let's bring this down. Mushroom. Let's do like, I don't know, 8. An 8, I think, should be okay. Ooh, that's still quite expensive. Let's do 6, maybe? Hold on, I'm just gonna... 6? That's about 112. 112. That might be okay. I mean, you have to realize that these mushrooms are tiny, right? So they're really small. They're gonna be super tiny. And the fact that I'm just gonna take the edge, I'm just gonna smoothen it. And I do want to cap the bottoms just to kind of avoid any issues that might come up. So I'm just gonna bridge, and then I'm going to what is it? Fill hole. Where's fill hole? Fill hole. No, that doesn't work. Okay, I'm gonna select these. Okay, stop it. Select edge. Fill hole. Select these edges. Fill hole. There. And like realistically, I'm looking at the photo. These are tiny. Like look at them. They're little cute little mushroom heads. Okay, hold on. Come out. Stuck on the rock. They're gonna be small. They're very, very small, right? They're even smaller than this, okay? They're about this size. That's about how small they are for these mushrooms. So I think it's safe to say that the 6 subdivision sphere will suffice, and I will create a small little cube. What we're going to do here is we're going to kill the tops and the bottoms. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a super small stem. I'm going to snap to the mushroom. I mean, really, honestly, I could probably save even more by merging the center. Merging the center. Making it like a triangle. To be honest. If I just want to go like move it into there. I mean, this is so small that my camera's having issues like just trying to maneuver. And I would rather make the stem a lot longer just to help me with maneuvering, right? So this is going to be combined into an object. And I'm going to center pivot, put this stem at the bottom. Sorry. Bottom here. This isn't centered, so I need to center this more. It looks pretty good. Yeah, looks pretty good. So now I have this, and I can, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mushrooms kind of hanging out here. So I'm gonna start playing around with that. Okay, this stem feels too big. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually scale it down even more. Okay, so I'll scale it down even more. Add a little rotation to this. Now the stem feels... Well, now the mushroom doesn't feel right. So hold on, let me just... Get more of a mushroom look. There. And I'm gonna start duplicating a bunch of these mushrooms out. And I'll definitely like if I'm really enjoying like working on other people's concepts and just kind of putting my own twist to it. I'm having a really good experience working on this project that I'll most likely be doing more of this kind of stuff with more artists, like collaborating with them a little bit more. I'm starting to nitpick here, sorry. Just noticed that this is not distributing as well as I wanted it to. I'm gonna move the mushrooms a little bit more like that. And 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna add a few more. I'm not certain if these are more mushrooms or not, but I'm just gonna do it. Just because it adds such a cool detail. And I will add some more grass, I think. The grass is just so cool. I'm gonna add actually these ones over here. I'm just gonna make them smaller. Well, I'm gonna switch this around so it doesn't look like it's too duplicated. And I'm gonna skinny it down. Now it looks like little things, so I'm gonna go like that. There you go. So that's kind of the scene right now. I think I'm gonna stop here for the video. It's been about already 36 minutes. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. If you guys like it, subscribe. If you guys like it, like the video, and leave your comments what it is that you guys like about the video, things like that. So thank you guys so much, and see you guys again next time.